Hi, this is Mike Liebner from easygeeks.com, where we help make things easy. And today I have a very special video called Easy Guide to Spotify, and I'm going to show you how to find great new music using Spotify on your computer or mobile devices. Now, I know Spotify can be a little intimidating because it frankly takes a little getting used to when you first start it. But hopefully I'm going to go ahead and show you all the cool things you could do with it and make it real easy for you to find all kinds of great new music. It's really cool. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to briefly go through the different things I'm going to show you, and then I'm going to go to Spotify itself and show you a little about the experience and how I use it. But first off, I'll just say that Spotify is a Swedish company, and basically what they did was they provided streaming audio. They got permission from a number of record labels initially, and now at this point in time, 2012, it appears to me that they pretty much have all of the music out there that you could get. So pretty much what it is, it's a streaming radio service. It's free, and I don't want to go too much into the terms and of service of Spotify, but basically you sign up for a free account, and then you put a desktop application on your computer. It's kind of like iTunes, where you listen to music, and I believe you get 3 or 6 months free. So it's basically free, and you could listen to as much as you want. The only thing is, on the free version they do play commercials. So every once in a while they're going to play an audio commercial, and then in the interface they show you stuff, and in a minute or two I'll get into that. Now they do have an upgraded version where you could buy a subscription, and there are benefits. One, you lose the commercials, so the music is uninterrupted, and two, the quality of the music is better. Now, to be honest, the quality is pretty darn good for free, and right now I'm still a free member, but when my time expires, my free time, I'm going to upgrade because I love Spotify, and I can't imagine living without it. Now, to be honest, they don't take it away from you. I think they just reduce how many hours you could listen to it, so you can continue to use it free. But if you're like me, it's something you're going to start to use more and more and more, and I think for the small amount they charge, it's definitely worth subscribing. And also, you're going to get the better quality of music, so it's going to sound a little bit better. Now, I have noticed on a few songs, on certain kinds of songs, you could tell, the MP3 compression does affect the quality a little bit. Some kinds of music more than other. But for the most part, it sounds really, really good, even the free one. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what the improvement is in the quality of the paid version. Okay, so the other things I'm going to show you are how you sign up, basically. I'm going to show you how to Scrabble. That's where you can connect to another service, and it starts listing the tracks that you list to. Last.fm is one of them. I'll tell you a little about Last.fm. I'll show you how you could hook up Spotify to Tumblr. It's really, really cool. And then you can create your own Tumblr blog like I did, where you write about the music you listen to and other music. There's a lot of really good things you could do. Now, real quick, here's the Spotify interface. So basically, it's a desktop app. So after you turn your computer on or your mobile device, you launch the app, and basically you get this kind of a interface. Now, let's just go. I think normally it goes to the What's New screen, which shows you, some ads. They recommend some stuff. You could trade playlists and so forth. And in a minute I'll come back to this, but this is the basic interface. And I know when I first started with this, I have to admit I didn't get it right away. I was used to iTunes and Pandora and a few other places, and I kept thinking, okay, where's the radio? But Spotify doesn't work like that. It is radio, but it's not the same kind of radio as the other places. And initially you may say, oh, well, I just want to find a rock and roll radio station and listen to rock and roll. Well, this isn't really like that. You can find playlists which have rock and roll music. But basically, the really cool thing about Spotify is that you pick the music you want to be in your radio station. So basically, look at Spotify as being your personal radio station. When you like things, you put it into the playlist, into the library for your radio station. And when you don't like things, you unstar them and you take them out of your library. So it's a great concept. It's a little bit different, and it does take a little getting used to, and I'll explain that in a minute. So let's go ahead and go back to Spotify here. And when you create your account, what you're going to find, you click the sign up button here. And basically what you're going to find is that they're going to want you to register through Facebook. Now, when I initially did this, I have to admit, I probably didn't do it the first or second time because I thought, God, I don't want to hook this up to Facebook, and I don't want them in my Facebook account. But I finally gave in. Enough people were telling me how great Spotify was, and I finally went and did it, and I did sign up with my Facebook account. And you know what? It's actually a benefit. Now, there could be some security issues. I don't really understand that 100%. There's an application, I guess, that connects to your Facebook. And the good thing about connecting through Facebook is that in order to get a Spotify account, you do have to have an established Facebook account. And I think Facebook is pretty good about not letting spammers out there get millions and millions of these accounts. So, I did tie it to my personal account. And unless you do not want other people to see what music you're playing, I really can't see any reason not to attach it to your Facebook account. Okay, so basically you sign up, and they'll go through the registration process, and then you'll get the application, and you'll be able to log on to the app. And I'll explain this a little bit more, but basically what you have is a interface. And if you look here on the left side, there's different options. So I'll just go through some of them. I only use a couple of them, but there's more stuff you could do here. People, these are the people that are on your Facebook account. Inbox, I guess if people send you music, that's one of the cool things about Spotify, is that it's very social. So like, you could see what other people are playing, like here on the right side. You could find out what they're playing. And if you go to the Facebook page, I guess I should show you this. Here's my Facebook page. And as you could see here, it shows your Spotify activity. So it says what you like, what you've been listening to. It actually has a little Spotify tab. I'll check that in a second. Music, under music, it tells you what you recently listened to on Spotify. So I guess you could do things with the app. I haven't touched it. I pretty much just left it the way it is. But it's pretty cool. The social aspect of it is really different because it allows you to find new music based on what other people are listening to. And it's really good for musicians and artists too, because now it is so easy for people to share music. Now, if you have iTunes, you may be a little bit familiar with some of the concepts, but to be honest, iTunes never took it to where Spotify has taken it. Spotify has aspects of it that make it so much more usable for me than iTunes. Now, it is worth mentioning that iTunes is connected here in Spotify, believe it or not. So you can access your iTunes library within Spotify. I don't think Spotify is an actual replacement for the library, but the way I look at it is I use iTunes for music I own and have bought, and I use Spotify for music radio, for music I'm investigating and exploring and finding. So it basically helps me store new music that I run across, and me personally, I only add music to this library that I do not own. If I own it, I go ahead and it's already in iTunes. Okay, so let's go through the rest of these options. Some of these I don't really know what they are, so I'll have to wing it. But you can connect it to your iPod, your iPhone, Android, and so forth. There's lots of apps that you can get. Apps are generally playlist type things where, Billboard and other places will give you recommendations for music. It's pretty cool. Personally, I don't use these a lot because I generally like more eclectic music, and a lot of this stuff is geared towards more popular music, the rock charts, pop, stuff like that. So I have gone into some of them, and I do find some interesting music, but in a few minutes I'll show you how I find music, and there's so much out there. It's totally, it's unlimited to how much great stuff you could find. But, if you're more traditional and, you like, the stuff you listened to 20 years ago, or, growing up as a kid and that's what you want to listen to, you will find it here. Okay, so let's go through more of these things. There's top lists of tracks that people are listening to the most, albums that people are listening to the most. You might find some stuff in there. Radio, where they have actually the radio stations are different. It's based on your playlists. So your playlists become the radio stations. I'll explain that in a little bit. Here's one of the apps I installed, the Billboard charts, which is it's okay. It's more popular, but if there's new music coming out, this may be a great way to find out about it. Once again, like I mentioned, I'm a little more into progressive and electronic music and some of the more cutting edge stuff, so it's not necessarily going to be here. But what's cool about all of this stuff is everything is connected. One thing can lead you to another. So as long as you start off with something you like, it will lead you to more stuff that you will like. Okay, there's another app called Mood Agent, and I guess what it does is it goes through people, how they feel when they're listening to stuff, and then if you want to play something based on a mood, you could play happy songs or angry songs. To be honest, I installed the app, but I never really used it. Tweetvine is another app. It helps you find new music, what people are tweeting about. We Are Hunted, I can't remember, that's another app. These are apps that you have to go get. Library is your entire list of all of the stuff you have in your Spotify library. Local files are files from iTunes. This is the stuff that you own that's already on your computer. And here's where I always go to. Starred. This is the one that I always jump to because it's basically a list of everything you find that you like. So the way that Spotify works that's a little bit different is that you start off with nothing. When you start off Spotify, your library and your starred list is going to be empty. You may have some local files if you let it find your MP3 folders from iTunes and so forth. But in general, your starred library will be empty. But as you find things, you'll start to add a star. Either you could add a star or unstar it. And when you unstar it, it removes it from your library. Now I have to say, when I first started doing this, I was a little disappointed there was only a star or no star. But after you get the hang of Spotify, you realize that it works for the way you do this, because if you have too many degrees of how much you like it, it takes away from the simplicity of either you want it in or you want it out. So the way to look at it is not so much as a rating system as rather, do you want it in your library on Spotify or not? Do you want it available to play? So one way you could play Spotify music is just by going to your library here, picking out a song, whatever it may be. Here's one from Sunsphere, Feel the Waves. I don't know what it is. It's music I found. Hopefully it's more than just waves. Yeah, there it is. It's music. So you could just play it that way. And then here is the shuffle symbol. If you click the shuffle symbol, it'll mix up the order that it plays it in. So it'll randomly select from your library. And if you have this selected, it'll randomly select it. If you unselect it, it'll just play it in order. So if I started playing it here, I believe it would just play one after the other. And if you want to, you could also do things. My screen is a little smaller because for the video I made it smaller, but it also shows you how long the track is, the album that it comes from, and the date that you added it. So if you want to, you could just sort it by the date you added, and then you could listen to either the oldest songs first or the newest ones. And I often do that. That's actually pretty cool, because if you added a batch of songs, this is a great way to keep track of them. And then of course you could do it by sort it by artist, and it'll just play through by artist, or it'll shuffle if you wanted to. And it's just a great way. Now once again, for me, the way I do it, I only put stuff in here I do not own. And the advantage to that is I use Spotify as a radio, more or less. If I want to listen to stuff I own, I just go straight to iTunes, or within Spotify you could listen to the stuff you own. But I find Spotify is so exciting to find new music, and I thrive on listening to new, fresh stuff, that it's perfect for me. Okay, so once you find material you like, you could create playlists. And then basically it's like iTunes, where you just group stuff you like into lists. So you can create the list yourself. And to be honest, let me explain how I first found Spotify myself personally. Somebody sent me a playlist, and it was this Keen's Strangeland something. I think I found it on Tumblr, or somebody sent it to me. I can't remember, to be honest. But basically they sent me the playlist, and I was unable to play it unless I had Spotify, and that finally pushed me over the edge to, give them my Facebook info and go ahead and start Spotify. So this was the first thing, and in this particular list it had a bunch of songs. It had the new songs from the newest Keen album, which I was curious to hear. And then also it had a bunch of other suggestions. I think this is from the band Keen. These are songs they liked. So what I did was I went through the list and I started starring them. Right? I didn't star all of them, but it gave me a starting point. So I figured out, okay, if I want these Keen songs to be added to my library, I'd need to star them. So let's find the starred. So here's starred, and let's go back to the date I've added these. So here you could see there's Keen. These were the first songs I ever added to my library. And Keen kind of took me on a path to discover other new music. And it's amazing how one thing leads to another. And this is going to be the really fun part that I'm going to show you in a minute here, how I use it to explore new music. But basically when I first started, I started with Keen, and then I added a few other ones here, and one thing led to another, to where I had this huge, gigantic library of the most unbelievable music. And me personally, I only put stuff in here that I audition and like. So I will not put something in the library. I will not star it unless I have a pretty good idea I'm going to like it. Because you could pollute your library if you just add a bunch of garbage indiscriminately. And that'll ruin the fun of Spotify, because you'll be listening to it in shuffle mode or as a radio station, and it's going to play garbage, and you're going to find that you're just not happy listening to it. So what I do is I only add the stuff I like, and as I listen to it, if I do run across a song that's a dud that I added by I shouldn't have added, just unstar it. And then throughout time you're going to clean out your library, and it's going to be only containing the really good stuff, the stuff you do like. Okay, so there's playlists here, which are great. Like what I did was I found Our Lady Peace had a bunch of really cool stuff. So I owned a bunch of their albums already, so I didn't add those to this playlist, but there was a bunch of stuff I did not have. So I did go ahead, some live stuff, some really cool stuff. That's also the cool thing about Spotify. You're going to run into albums you would just never find on iTunes or in a CD music store. some of these live albums I've never seen anyway. And if you're a fan of some of these artists, you're going to run across some really cool stuff. Now, Spotify does have a huge library, and from what I could tell, you could find almost everything that's out there. But there are exceptions. Every once in a while, I'll go look at an artist, and I will notice that there are not some albums available. I'm not sure why that is. There must be some copyright or legal issue, but I know they're adding a ton of stuff all the time, and it rarely happens that I find something that I can't find. Okay, so that's playlists. So what I did was, here's another cool tip. As you get a huge library and the library starts to grow, it gets harder and harder to listen to it all the time, because it will play some of the songs that aren't your favorites. It'll play everything you like, but some of them really stand out. And how do you know which of those to play? Well, I created a playlist called Really Like. And every time I hear a song in my library that's in the starred files that I really like, that's exceptionally good, I add it to the Really Like library. So that's a hot little tip. That's a great way. And that way, if you don't want to deal, with duds and you only want to hear the really good stuff, play your Really Like playlist, and it's a much better experience. Now, you could create other playlists like I did too. There's other moods, morning chill music. It's kind of easygoing stuff if I don't want to be bothered, or super chilled if it's kind of like a genre of music and I think it belongs. Or I found a new Dada album and I thought, oh wow, that's great, I only want to listen to Dada, the new album, so I put it into a playlist. Port Blue, I find a new artist I had never heard of before, and I liked them, so I only wanted these songs to be in the playlist. So you could do stuff like that, and then these become your radio stations. So isn't that cool? Compared to iTunes, where you're only stuck with what you've bought, this opens up a completely, what seems like an infinite universe of musical possibilities. You could find stuff you would never find. Like in my case, I'm a musician and I play music. I play guitar and keyboards and a bunch of other instruments. So I'm always interested in sounds and sound design. So anytime I run into an artist, while I'm searching the web or reading music magazines or whatever, you could go to Spotify, search for that artist, and then find everything that they're connected to. So here, I'll give you an example. Let's just type in William Orbit, who's one of those electronic artists. So what Spotify will do is it'll give you playlists from other Spotify people where William Orbit appears in. That's really cool. You could find some really cool, music doing that. Some unusual stuff. Sometimes it's not even just the artist, because sometimes people have other things other than the artist. So I found a couple other Spotify users that listen to the same kind of stuff I do. See, here's some stuff in here. Seal. I don't know half of this stuff, but if I wanted to, as I listen to these songs, I could go, okay, what is this? Electrical Storm William Orbit Mix. I wonder what that is. You listen to it. You could skip ahead. That's another great thing about Spotify. It's pretty much instant. So what I do is I just listen to it, audition it real quickly, and then I decide I like it. So now it's in my library. And you could do that by going through playlists. You can go to the artist. They'll show you the artists that have that name in the search query. So you can go to William Orbit, and this is all of William Orbit's stuff. So you can go through here. If you want, you could audition them. If you just trust that you like this artist, what I usually do is I'll listen to a few of them, and if I find that I really like the artist, I'll just go ahead and star them all, because all it really does is it adds it to your starred library and your radio station. So I haven't done William Orbit. Actually, I own some of these as well, so that's why they're not starred yet. But they also show you, what's cool is in many cases they'll show you other artist albums that they appear on. So you may have never realized that he was on these other songs, or rather these other albums. So you can go, and it's a great way to explore. So here we see all of this stuff. The Wolf and the Moon. I don't know what this is, but could be cool. Sounds interesting. So I'll go ahead and star that. And then if you want to go, you can go to that album and see what other stuff, because that one was good that Orbit was on, but there's other songs on it too. So I wonder if these are good. So you can go and listen to those. Sounds pretty good. Star that. And so forth. And if you trust the album, you could just star them all, or usually I'll listen to several of them before I make a decision like that, because you don't want to put too much in your library, because there's a chance that some of this will not be good stuff. Okay, so click the back button here. Now we're back to the William Orbit section. Now here's a really, really cool part of finding new music, and this is what I do the most. What you could do is when you go to an artist, like here's William Orbit, and he's a ambient guy. He does a lot of electronic music. I think he produced some of Madonna's stuff, and I think U2 and some other people. So if you know you like his artist, you could play the artist radio, which will, what does that do? I think that plays similar artists. It's kind of like Pandora or Last FM, where it'll play the tunes from him and other artists, which is cool, but I usually don't do that. What I do is I go to the related artists and I start clicking these and I try to find other people. Like, I don't know what Dread Zone is, but let's check it out. It's a dance group.
Trials and judgment.
Okay, I could tell. Not for me. No judgment here, but let's click another one. Left field. House music. See, you may or may not like this. If you like house music, you may run into some stuff here. Okay, I'm not a big fan of house music. Progressive house I like, but some of the regular stuff not so much. So in this case I didn't really find much for William Orbit, but you can keep going through them and eventually you run into something. It's like, oh yeah, Tangerine Train, you know, they're cool. And you listen to it and you like it, and then you add it to your library, and now you have more similar tunes. And then every time you go to a new artist, there's a whole new group of other related artists. So it leads you on a path of discovering new music that maybe you never ever, you know, would have found otherwise, that you want to put in your library. So like, it's okay, that's not so good, but maybe this is good. That's kind of cool. So I'll star that, put it in there. And what I find I end up doing is when I find a new artist, I find myself looking for more related music, because one artist always leads you on a path to discover other new artists. So that's a really, really cool feature. So you could search here in the box for either artist names, song names, genres, whatever, and that'll lead you to a ton of new stuff. And then there's another thing. As a power user, what you're going to find out is that there is scrobbling, which is really cool. At first I didn't know what it was, but scrobbling apparently is where Spotify will notify other services that are connected, and it'll share the info with them. So let me go ahead and see if I can find an example here. Before I had Spotify, I had an account at Last FM, which is a really cool service. It is a little bit more radio oriented, and since I have Spotify, I've stopped using this as much. But Last FM is still great for finding new music. In fact, it's actually a little bit better than Spotify. So what I find myself doing is I find myself using Spotify in conjunction with Last.fm. So here's my account at Last.fm, Porcupine T, and they let you show your profile, which is cool. Get a link to your website, so I just linked directly to my main blog. And it shows you how many plays you've done. Now, originally I signed up with Last.fm in July of 2010, so I guess you could say I was an early adopter. But I've only been with Spotify for like probably about 3 months, I think. Something like that, maybe 4 months. And as you can see here, it shows the history of what you've been playing. So this morning when I got up, I listened to my one of my playlists, and this is what it played. And because it scobbles, it sends it directly to Last.fm. And I'll show you why that's cool. One, because it's cool on Last.fm because it keeps a history of what you've played, but also, here I'll refresh it actually. So we could see the newest tracks that we just clicked on and played as well. Now the really powerful stuff is that when you find stuff you like here, like here's one, Butterfly Explosion, you could find more information about the artist on Last.fm. So I don't know who they are. So Butterfly Explosion tells you a little about the group, you know, Smashing Pumpkins and My Bloody Valentine. And this is what I really like. It shows similar artists. So if you like that style of music and you want to find other music that's like that, this is a great way to do it. So you can go to similar artists here, and you can go through these, and then you could take these, like, I don't know what a lot of these are, but you could take these, copy them, and paste them into Spotify. Okay, so here's the artist Jatoon. I guess I found that already. So that's cool. And Jatoon isn't very popular, so, or maybe it is. Okay, so here it is. So here's all the Jatoon stuff you could find. Looks like I already went through it, started it. It's in my library. But you could also find other things now with a brand new link. So here's I Am David Sparkle. I didn't find that yet. Check it out. Sounds pretty good. You could add it to your library. And then back to Last.fm. And where was that page? Similar artists. So that's pretty cool. And here, there's something I'm looking for that I'm not finding. Let me see here. You could actually find similar songs as well. And that tends to be a little more... Okay, here it is. So it's top tracks that are similar to this artist. See more. Is this what it is? Forgive me. Okay. Oh, I'm not clear on this. That wasn't really what I was looking for. But if you go, Last.fm offers a ton of stuff. Here's Last.fm, and what I just did, I went and typed in site Last.fm and then my user profile, and you could see all of the pages. There's 146 pages that are indexed with my user profile on them. So I think some of these should be like related. To be honest, I can't remember. Here's personal. These are the tracks you listen to on Last.fm. These are all scrobbled. So, okay, so now I can go to Keen, click On the Road. It'll show me the info for the song. And it has tags for the genre, so you could find more songs and artists. And what I'm looking for is I'm not finding it, but usually there's some related link that takes you to related songs, and it's another great way to find artists. It's similar to the just the related artists feature where it shows you different artists. Okay, this is not showing it. Glider. Here we go. So here's some of the songs, similar artists, top tracks. If you go to the track, some of the songs are too obscure, so they don't show the related songs. Okay, well, enough of that. But that's scrobbling. So when you scrobble, you see it here. I guess you see it on Facebook. You know, it gives you the updates of the most recent stuff you've played. And it's a great way to share the music with other people. So now other people that go to Last.fm, if they look at your profile, they could find new music, you know, that they like too. If they say, hey, this Mike Liebner guy likes a lot of really cool music, I'm going to start going through his stuff and see if I find something. So I do that when I find other users that like the same stuff too. Now another thing you could do, which is really cool, is Spotify makes it really easy to share music. So if you have a blog or blogs, in particular a Tumblr blog, you can go to your Tumblr blog and share an audio file. So what I did was I created a blog called Best New Songs on Tumblr, so I could promote some of the music that I like. So here's some of the posts that I have here. And some of these are direct links to Spotify. So through Tumblr, they make it real easy for you to put the play button here so that other people with Spotify can just come to my site here, Best New Songs and Music, and immediately click on this and find the songs. And I also post a playlist sometimes too, so you could see here the individual stuff that I've been listening to. So Google loves these sites. They've indexed a ton of pages. And you could also, if you have other websites, you could use these Tumblr blogs to link to your websites, which is actually pretty cool. So you can get a lot of people and get some social activity going, make some new friends, get some traffic to your website, and so forth, just by starting a Tumblr blog and connecting it to Spotify. And it's really easy. All you have to do is, here, I think I'll do one for you. Click on audio. And then you use a URL. So I'll go to Spotify here, and let's find something here. Okay, so I don't really remember what this is, but plaid slice of cheese. So if you wanna, you right click it, and then here it is. You copy Spotify URI. You could also embed it in your blog if you want to. But I'm going to go here to my Tumblr blog, paste it in, and then they automatically know what it is. So it puts the little play thing, and then you could write whatever you want. You might like this song by I Am David Sparkle. What kind of name is that? I guess nobody's going to steal that name. And you know, you could do tags and all kinds of stuff, and this is a great way to get traffic from Tumblr. If you have other blogs and websites, this can lead people to your other stuff. So if you wanted to, you could do this like I'll do here. See my new site called Easy Geeks. That's where I'm going to post this video. So now I have a post with this music. Let me go ahead and type in I Am David Sparkle. And I'm posting it to my Best New Songs blog. So click Create Post. There it is. So it's now on the web. Let's go ahead and take a look at that. There it is. It's on my blog. And if you go to the post itself, here's the post. So we have this. So if you're a Spotify user and you run across this, you can click it. Here's the link to my other site. And when people check out Spotify on Tumblr, they'll run across this. It's just a great way to get some, social interaction going. And like I said, if you own websites, it's a great way to send some link juice to your websites. Okay, well, that's pretty much all that you need to know. Spotify is easy. It may seem a little difficult at first, but once again, create your account. Start off by searching for an artist that you like, and it'll take you on a journey, and the journey will go on, and it could take you as far as you want to go, and you can create a library, with all kinds of great new music, and then you can create playlists. You could share it with other people. Spotify is really just the best thing that's happened to music, I think, probably since iTunes. iTunes was really cool for music you own, and if you want to buy stuff online through the iTunes store, it's good for organizing that music. But Spotify finally has brought radio to the internet, and it helps you explore and find new music, I think, better than any other platform that's out there. So if you're looking to find great new music, Spotify is a great way to do it, and hopefully this easy guide will give you some ideas how you could find the music. Okay, well, this is Mike Liebner for easygeeks.com. Stop by the site. We're adding new videos all the time on all kinds of geeky stuff. All right, thanks for watching.